He's 5'10", 153 pounds. And so at first glance, I was thinking, he doesn't look natural. Look how shredded he is. Coach Greg, and today's video is on popular fitness influencer William Li. I just recently discovered this guy and was shocked he's only 21 years of age and maintains sub 6% body fat year-round. He gives a number of fitness tips, has videos on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And in today's video, we're gonna expose him. The good, the bad, the ugly. Is he in fact natural? And so stay tuned and find out. And so he's been training for 7 years, making gains, and it wasn't until approximately July of 2020 when he decided to get shredded. Before that, he had normal body fat, somewhere between 15 and 25%. Up until that point, he had really good muscle size, but was carrying a normal amount of body fat. Wasn't obese, just normal. He stands 5 feet 10 and was at his most 196 pounds. And remember, this was at the age of 19. He got sick and tired of overeating, feeling sorry himself, and decided enough is enough. Too bad, I'm going to start eating healthier. He also watched a number of Coach Greg videos, and he has a very similar philosophy about higher volume eating and trying to control your cravings. He stated, "We both have the same philosophy when it comes to diet, and I've learned so much from you, so thank you so much for putting out great info." And so the more videos I watched from this guy, the more I felt like he was a lot like Coach Greg. He's giving out diet tips, training tips, trying to help people, and he calls everyone kings. And frankly, I thought he meant short kings. I never knew his height. I thought he was perhaps short. Asked him his height, 5'10". Not like Coach Greg, I'm only 5'6".
But the money made me 6'5".
You know the song, of course you do. And so in talking with him, he said, you gotta do a Natty Or Not on me. You gotta talk about me if I'm natural. I don't care what you say, but what do you think? Am I in fact natural? I asked his height and weight. He's 5'10", 153 pounds. And so at first glance, I was thinking, he doesn't look natural. Look how shredded he is. And in particular, the guy is an animal on the bench press. He literally benched 380 pounds at only 159 pounds body weight. The guy's 21 years old. I'm thinking, why is he not competing in powerlifting? This is ridiculous amounts of strength. Reminds me of Tristan Lee. You know Tristan Lee, absolutely mind-blowing peeled, 4.4% body fat, but not all that big, but certainly excessively strong. And when you're natural to this extent, your testosterone levels are likely to fall. I asked him, how do you feel? He feels great. And asked about his hunger. And with his tips and techniques, he's able to stay satiated, has plenty of energy. And so he's able to maintain sub 6% year round while being strong in the gym and looking absolutely phenomenal. The guy is literally in contest shape, could walk on stage, compete anytime. Said, why don't you compete? He said, well, there's so much work that goes into it. I'm like, literally, you could get up on stage and compete right now. But perhaps he's just not interested. And in today's society, with the size that people are, 5'10" and 153 pounds, that would quite literally be small. But are you going to debate me that this does not look amazing? And so let that be a lesson to you. If you're 5'10" and you think you're small, 153 pounds, look at this guy. 153 pounds, 5'10". Look at the chest on him, the striation, the abs. So you don't have to be 200 pounds to look good. But remember, and he knows this, not everyone is cut out to being this lean. Not everyone can be single-digit body fat and have energy. And so yes, you can apply the tricks, the tips that he gives, but don't think that it's going to get you to be as shredded as he is. He is a rare example of a guy who I do in fact believe he's natural, that can sustain a lean physique like this with no ill effects. However, I do in fact think that if he ate more and if his body fat went up a little bit, that he would in fact be bigger, stronger, and carry more muscle. And so just like Jeff Cavalier and Tristan Lee, I would say that William Li, if he went on a lean bulk, perhaps gained a little bit of body fat, that he would be able to build more muscle and be stronger. He wouldn't be as shredded, but do you really need to be this shredded to look good? I don't think so. But in the end, the choice is his, and I do believe he's leaving some gains at the table. Consider his off-season weight was 196 pounds. He's been training for over a year and a half dieting, and he's now 153 pounds. That means he's lost 43 pounds of body weight. And no, I don't think that was all fat. I do believe he's lost a little bit of muscle in the process. And so how do you diet it down to something which I believe to be healthy, perhaps 10 to 15%? Perhaps he would weigh 170, 175, and that bench, rather than being 380, perhaps it'd be 450. We don't know. But what about the quality of the information presented? Are all of his videos purely based on science? Does he in fact make any mistakes? Well, the first thing we can do is not legal lift and have a spotter. And so clearly too much weight on the bar. Perhaps this was his last set, as this should be easy for him. And so he barely can get the weight up with improper form, and he looks to one side and sees he's able to re-rack the weight. However, the other side, not high enough. And so imagine if he lets the bar go. This could fall on his head, neck, and so on. Lucky for him, he was able to lower the weight to the side and throw the weight off to his side. And this mistake happens all the time in the gym, and not only on the bench press, also on the squat rack. Please ensure that you have both bars ready and placed on the safety rack. It takes one slip up one time. And remember, when you're training harder than last time, going to failure and so on, that is the time when you're most likely going to give up sooner than you need to. Make sure, be 100% certain that you can now let go of the bar. And by all means, always use a spotter. He also gives very simple tips that everyone can understand. Want to work these? Do these. Want to work these? Do these. Very simple, but this is the kind of information that beginners need. Reminds me of Noel Diesel. Also has a lot of the same music in the back. Guys giving out quality information, and more so for the beginners. And advanced lifters are thinking, well, that's not a benefit, that's obvious. It's obvious to you because you have several years of training experience. For the newbies, people getting into the gym, this is exactly the kind of information that they need.
So when I first started my shredding journey, I was looking at the scale go down every single day, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. What I didn't know was that a lot of that weight wasn't coming from just fat loss. A lot of it was muscle loss.
And so what does he wish he could take back from his weight loss journey? Well, he discovered that the greater the calorie deficit, it doesn't mean the better. Sure, you lose more weight, but a lot of that weight is in fact muscle. As I said earlier, the guy looks like he had lost some muscle on his weight cut. And so the best tip, lose the weight slower than last time. The smaller the calorie deficit, the easier it will be to stick to your plan to lose fat and build muscle all at the same time. Other simple tips he gives, eat these, not these. And just like Coach Greg, he states what foods you can eat that are of lower calories that perhaps keeps you full, that allows you to stay in a calorie deficit. And so he offers simple lower calorie substitutes. Eat this instead of that. It's going to have less calories, allow you to be in a calorie deficit. And in particular, he says protein ice cream is a game changer. Does that not sound like Coach Greg? He even has a recipe for a 200 calorie massive protein ice cream shake. And let me tell you, if you've never tried this, and remember, that's where you lift it over your head, doesn't come out of the blender. If you've never tried this before, you don't know what you're missing. And no, it's not as good as ice cream. It's only 80% as good. But the amount of volume you get, if you're a big eater or perhaps you binge, this is a game changer as it allows you to be full.
At what age can you start taking pre-workout?
If you're 14 or older, you can start experimenting with taking pre-workout. Just make sure you don't go overboard with it. Start slow. You don't have to take the full scoop.
And to me, this highly debatable, and he has a different opinion than mine. At what age should people be allowed to start taking pre-workout? He says 13 and under, you're too young. 14 and up, it's okay. Try not going over 200 milligrams a day, but at most 400. To me, that is the advice for adults. 18 years of age and older. If you're only 14 years of age, I don't think you should be taking any pre-workout, not even non-stim pre-workouts. You don't need it. You're so young, your body's just starting to produce testosterone. You are going to make gains without it. But listen, William Lee is only 21 years of age. In comparison, I'm 46. I'm an old man, so perhaps I'm just not down with the times. Perhaps 14-year-olds are into taking pre-workouts. When I was a teenager, never took pre-workouts or even considered it. But I do believe it's better to wait, and in my opinion, pre-workouts have a greater potential for abuse. But if you had to take one, if there's no way you can't stop your teenagers from taking a pre-workout, please don't give them stim pre-workouts. They have a greater potential for abuse. But if you're 14 years of age and you don't have the energy to get through a workout, you're doing something wrong. Perhaps check your diet. What is your diet like? Are you in fact going to bed on time? Are you staying up all night? At 14, you're a beginner. You don't even need to train hard at this point. You need to learn the technique, go through the motions, do the exercises properly.
Here are a few weird things that happen when you get shredded. Your innie turns into an outie. Fruits start to taste like candy.
100% agree with fruits tasting like candy. When you go from being overweight or obese to shredded, everything tastes better. It's unbelievable how much better foods taste when you're shredded. Everything is appealing. You could be given bird food and think it's great. You used to eat bran flakes. Wow, oh my goodness, bran flakes. Wow, this plain tuna tastes so good. Why? Because you're starving. When you're starving to this extent, everything tastes good. Your body is in fight or flight mode. It's saying you need to eat or you're done. And so it makes foods taste better. In comparison, when I was bulking, trying to get as big and fat as possible to bench press world records, nothing seemed to taste good. Never wanted to eat a salad. You kidding me? A salad? I'm not eating no salad. Protein ice cream? Get that away from me. If it ain't Haagen-Dazs, I ain't eating it. And so you might not think that right now that you can get used to eating lower fat items, perhaps foods from my cookbook, lower calorie lasagnas and wraps and so on. But trust me, once you lose weight, your taste buds adapt. Case in point, when William Lee eats fruit, it tastes like candy.
Your jawline gets sharper, your cheeks start to hollow out, and your facial structure changes to the point where you look like a different person.
And he's not kidding. When you lose a lot of fat, your face can completely change. You might not think that you're attractive, that you don't have the genetics to look good. How do you know that? If you haven't lost body fat, you can't see any of the bones on your face, how do you know what you would actually look like when you're lean?
King, believe it or not, this was my hair on creatine.
Although I do suspect creatine played a factor in my hair loss, the main factor I would say was depression.
Do you lose hair when you take creatine? Well, it's debatable. I personally don't believe so. Of the millions of people taking it, some people start taking creatine and they lose their hair. But is it because they started taking creatine, or is that just a coincidence? So, for example, William Lee lost a significant amount of hair when he was taking creatine. But is it the creatine, or as he says, the fact that he was depressed? Or is it in fact from not eating enough calories? He's under 6% body fat, he's hardly eating, and when you're on a starvation diet, a lot of people will in fact thin out their hair. Or, and we don't know, I don't have proof, is it possible he was taking PDs at that time, perhaps SARMs, which caused him to lose some of his hair? We will never know, but in my opinion, the dangers of losing your hair from taking creatine do not outweigh its benefits. And so overall, I have to say I give him a very high recommendation. He's highly motivational. The only caution I have is do not think that you can look like this. Just because he looks like this and is in fact natural does not mean that you can. Please have realistic goals. Being 6% body fat or less for most people is going to be a horrible experience mentally and physically. You're going to be starving all the time, not have enough energy, not able to sleep well, and experience lower or loss of libido. This is a result of having lower testosterone levels and simply not giving your body the calories it needs. And so please go subscribe, watch his channel. But in doing so, please realize that not everyone is cut out or has the genetics or even should strive for single-digit body fat. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette, IFB Pro. Check out the bloops. Also, harder than last time supplements, natural supplements. Don't get them if you're 14 years of age. But if you're an adult, please, you can try Turkesterone and other supplements. Click the link in the description. Also, become one of the nearly 200,000 newsletter subscribers. Giving away free training programs to everyone. Just become a newsletter subscriber. It's not just a one-page plan. It's about 20 pages of quality information telling you exactly how to train, to get the gains, to become a better butter burner, to lose fat, build muscle, and improve cardio, all at the same freaking time. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm. Don't forget I have a cookbook, training book, coaching plans by me and my team, and the Circle Diet book explains how to lose weight, keep it off. And until next time, I am out.